Hey there guys, this is the second video in my short series on how to use the Godot Mixing Desk. In this tutorial we'll talk about the more complex backbone of the mixing desk, which is of course the transitions, which is what makes it special really. And there are two types of transition when it comes to adaptive music or interactive music. There's switching to another song, which is also known as horizontal resequencing, which is just like when you press next or shuffle, on a CD player or on iTunes or whatever. And then there is adding in or removing layers of the current song, which is called vertical remixing, which is a lot more like like when you're actually at a mixing desk and you turn one of the faders up or down. Like last time, I've included some sample music right here. The link will be in the description to demonstrate these functions. But for now, let's just get to it. Switching directly to another song, which is the first one I mentioned, obviously. This is especially useful to mock states or areas in a game. So, for example, you might want one song to play inside a town, but a different song to play in a shop inside the town. Or you might want the music to change from ambient to battle when the player, encounters an enemy and enters battle. Both of these implementations will probably sound familiar to you if you've ever played a Pokemon game or really any RPG like a Bethesda RPG like Skyrim or Fallout. So to demonstrate, let's just get a simple song set up in Godot. As you can see, I've already done that here. It is the sample song from the first tutorial, complete with the random percussion in there. And the game is set to just automatically play the original song right here. It's got two layers, if you can hear. It's got the E piano and it's got an ARP above it, which you can see in the core container here. Now when you bring in these other tracks, don't forget to put in the song properties. Now we'll actually want something to trigger these songs to change between test and test 2. As you can see, I've included buttons here, and these buttons are connected right into the script here. I've got it set to the visual script, but I will go back to the GD script and you can see the connections here to the buttons. So all that's happening here is when you press this button, it's going to call this function here, song 1 button pressed, and it's going to put Q bar transition, and on the other song button it'll Q bar transition between the names of these tracks right here. So when I press song 2, it goes to song 2. But it waits until the bar is finished. And that is exactly the same in visual script, as you can see. Just test 2 on song 2. Just pass that into the song name or song index variable right there. Sometimes though you don't want to change directly to the other track. You'll want to put something in between, and that's why there is, oh, I should not have deleted that, just move it away. This is the Q sequence function, which does almost exactly the same thing, only it puts a different track in between. Say you want a flourish or something else to play before you go to your second track. In this case we have test 3, which is just this little sequence. It's just some percussion Now that's in Visual Script, obviously. If we want that to be, if we want to do that in GD Script, that is Q sequence, and then your first variable will be an array of which song, which track to play next, and then which one will play after it. After that, you'll want whether it's to be played on a beat or a bar, and then the play mode once it's finished. Yep, we're on GD Script. So as you can imagine, this type of implementation is great for when you want to add like flourishes at the start or end of an important piece. Say you want like a victory fanfare to play at the end of your battle theme, or a lose theme if you of course lose the battle. Now that is the horizontal transitions, the horizontal resequencing, as if you're changing between tracks on a CD. This is the vertical method, which is remixing. It will toggle the fade on test track 0, and this one toggles the fade on track 1 on test. Just like that. But that's just one of quite a few ways of fading tracks in and out. Toggle fade is like, it's a little like using a dimmer light switch, where you gradually just go between on and off, on and off. You've also got toggle mute, which does the same thing but instantly, just like a regular light switch. And you've got fade in and fade out for when you specifically want to tell something to fade in or to fade out, not just go between 0 and 1, whichever one it may be. And you have fade out below layer and fade out above layer, which, as the name would suggest, say you've got 10 tracks in a song and you say fade all below 5, then tracks 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 will fade out and everything above it will fade in. So you just move that number around and everything above it will play, everything below it won't, and vice versa for fade out above layer, whichever way you want to go about it. Well, there you have it, the secret to transitions in Godot Mixing Desk. I hope this tutorial's helped you out. Hope you basically know how to make the adaptive and procedural music in Godot Mixing Desk. So I'll see you next time. We'll look at the more in-depth features, which is binding track volumes to a game variable, concatenated tracks, and using the Mixing Desk signals within the game, and even to interact with other instances of Mixing Desk.